What is going on, Chelsea fans? In today's video, we're going to be talking about transfer rumors. Yes, the transfer rumors have already begun despite this season not finishing yet and not knowing where we'll be finishing in the table because we might have Champions League and we might not have anything at all. But that all being said, this gets very interesting on some of the players that we're looking to sell, but also possibly buy and bring in this summer because one of the big talking points has to be, will Enzo Maresca be here next season? Because the way the season has been going, it's been a roller coaster. And right now, we've been almost nosediving, but coming right back up right at the last couple weeks in the season. And we still, again, could finish in the top 4 or top 5, depending on how the rest of the season goes for the teams above us. But we only need the 5th position to get Champions League football for next season. I want to say if we do get that, Enzo Maresca does stick around. Even if we win or lose the conference final or semifinals, I do believe we're going to the finals no matter what. That all being said, the first player that we need to talk about is Fofana. Yes, Fofana, Wesley Fofana, who's been riddled with injuries since joining Chelsea, could be on his way out this summer, which doesn't really surprise me too much. And I do believe we could get a good amount of money for him. I can't remember off the top of my head if we paid 80 million. That sounds right. I don't think we're getting anywhere near that amount of money for him, but we still could probably get around 50 to 60 for him, and which again, because he's been here a few years, would still actually be a profit overall because again, we've already been paying some of those wages for the couple seasons. But with the injuries he's been having, I'd hate for him to be here next year and pick up another big injury and miss pretty much half the season again because when you're on the bench or not even on the bench, you don't help us out at all. And yes, he is a great footballer, and I do think he has plenty of skill and the capability of being one of the better defenders in the league. But like I said, with his injuries that we've been seeing time and time again, I think it makes most sense if a team does come along and want to buy this player that we do get rid of him because we are looking at a few different players, which, yes, is mind-boggling that we are looking at more defenders because there are other positions we should be looking at, but defense is one of those areas we definitely need to bolster. And two of those players would be Dean Huijsen from Bournemouth, who is only 19, and yes, he had a great season this past season at Bournemouth, and there are still a few more games left. I do think only being 19 years old, it may have been a one season wonder. And again, I think he has the potential of being a great player. But being only 19 does worry me a little bit that we do bring this player in and almost stick him into Chelsea because at Bournemouth, it's a little different. Yes, you can make mistakes. You can have some bad games. You will not get berated by the media. Whereas at Chelsea, you are under a microscope immediately when you come in. So whether you have one bad game, people will look at that and constantly bring it up. Even Moise Caicedo, who has been stellar this season, people still talk about last season when he was not fit and made some errors in the first handful of matches coming in. But he's been one of our best players, but yet that is still in the eyes of some people because how much the media really does hate on Chelsea. But I do think Dean could be a great player for Chelsea, but the age itself is the question mark because we obviously keep buying younger players. At some point, we do need to buy some more players that again have the capability of staying healthy but also have the leadership because yes, we have a few players that are a little bit older as we get into next season. We don't have any of those guys that have been around for a while that have really gone through the grit and grind and actually have won a bunch of stuff, and those are the players that maybe we should be bringing into this club. The other player is Marc Guéhi, which, again, being that he was at Chelsea and now we're trying to bring him back, is just, again, really confusing, but at the same time, he is a great player. Obviously, he's done really well at Crystal Palace. Him and Chalobah would be a great pairing as our CBs, and I do see them being actually two good, solid pairings. Chalobah is a very fit guy that, like I said, he's been fully fit almost his entire time as a Chelsea player, even at Crystal Palace. He's picked up maybe a few knocks here and there, but overall, he's almost always available. And same with Mark, that again, these two guys, they would be almost our two rock solid defenders in that back. Now, we could rotate in Tosin, and depending on who all comes back from loans to Sassy, I have a feeling we're going to be selling him as well, but he could be an option, even though I don't think he should be. Badia Shield, and there again, there are going to be some other players we're probably going to look at bringing in, but those two players I think would be our starting CBs. And then the last thing we're looking at is the goalkeeper, which again, is also comical because of how many goalkeepers we've been signing, we've been loaning this past season and a half. But it looks like we're going to go for Borussia Dortmund, Kobel, which does seem to make sense, but at the same time, I don't know if he's that much of an upgrade from Sanchez. And we do know that Sanchez obviously has his flaws, and we need to maybe look at a keeper that is even better than that, which I don't know if there's too many out there. And granted, it is still the middle of the season. We haven't ended the season yet. Things could obviously happen during the summer. There could be a huge different, like, people falling out with clubs, and therefore, again, different players could be available. But as of right now, the fact that we are looking to work on our defense and goalkeeper is helpful, but we still need to look at our attacking third as well. Granted, our midfield, I think, is actually looking pretty well. We do need another striker alongside Nico Jackson. He is a guy that can score for us, but like I said, he needs competition, because if he doesn't have any competition, he can have those droughts and not have to worry about losing a spot. But if there's a guy that can step in and actually overtake him, it's going to give him the drive to actually try harder and hopefully keep scoring more goals and be very lethal in front of the box. But overall, I think with Chelsea, it all does come down to how we finish this season, because if we do get Champions League, it obviously opens the door for many players to come in. If we get Europa, there still is the possibility we can get a lot of those players, because yes, Europa is just a little bit low Champions League. It's still better than the Conference League. Let's be real here. So like I said, if we can get into one of those two competitions, we still have the pull. But if not, it will be worrisome this season, because the only other issue is if we do not get in the Champions League or Europa, is that a lot of these players may want out. Granted, some of them have a long contract, so there's nothing they can do about it. But some of these players might want to get sold, and therefore, again, some teams may come in and buy some of these players, which could disrupt the locker room. But overall, I think we have a solid team going forward. I do not know the future for Maresca. I do want to know, though, what do you guys think? Do you think he will stick around, or we will get rid of him this summer? Comment down below what you guys think on that. So that is all of you for today. I will see you in the next video. If you did enjoy this content, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in our next video.